Lately, for some reason, I've been in the Smash Bros mood, and I don't know if it's because Kirby Air Riders just dropped from Sakurai and his team, or if it's just because we just passed the 8-year anniversary for Smash Ultimate. And because it's been a whopping 8 years so far, I think my mind is just stuck on we're due for a new Smash soon. But one thing fans seem to fight about the most is the roster. A lot of fans think they need to just keep building and make just one gigantic huge Smash Brothers again, just adding even more characters and bringing back pretty much every single other one. And the other half of players want to see giant cuts where they can focus a lot of their time and effort into rebuilding current movesets for classics like Mario, Link, and Samus, and I fall on the latter. Towards the beginning of this year, I made a new Super Smash Bros. Concept video where I talked about how they should definitely cut the roster, and when I showed everybody that I would cut, yeah, it got some people mad. And some of these characters that I cut, I didn't even want to. Some of them I really liked, but I had to make sacrifices to chop the roster down, because you don't realize how many characters are in Smash Ultimate. It's a lot, and even just cutting it in half still leaves a lot of characters on the table. Why am I so focused on the roster? I've already talked about what they could add, like a brand new story mode along the lines of Subspace Emissary again, but today I want to focus just primarily on the roster because that's what Smash is about. The characters, the fighters, it's what makes the whole entire game. And I feel like it's time to flip what we know about Smash Brothers on its head, because one thing that I keep hearing is, what in the world can Sakurai do next? If he's not going to bring back all these characters or add a bunch more, then having a really small roster is just not going to feel anywhere near as good. But when you have a smaller, more compact roster, it can easily make 40 characters feel like 100. So I came across an awesome animator and illustrator on YouTube known as Hidden Machine. You can click on the link in the description down below to watch their full video, but it's freaking awesome. They pretty much completely recreate Mario's moveset and pretty much turn him into a DLC character. And some of the moveset options that they use for this character is just freaking insane. I mean, every single move is a reference to something in Mario's history. Even down to the tilts and jabs could reference different power-ups and items in Mario's past. His forward air, he throws a GameCube forward. His back air actually uses FLUDD in a beneficial way this time. He can place Kaizo blocks from Mario Maker that enemies can run into. He can throw Cappy and actually control the other player. He even conjured up a move where you pull out a baby penguin, and if the enemy character hits it, then Mama Penguin comes and slams you in the ground, which is just like, yes! Now, a lot of this video might seem silly, but a lot of it just got me thinking, like, dude, Mario could actually feel like Mario. He could move around and actually attack like Mario. And after watching this, I just got sad. I'm like, dude, over 25 years we've been playing Smash Brothers games from one console to another, and Mario's moveset hasn't changed an ounce really since the original Smash on 64. Mario does have some move references for sure, but I mean, it's very far in between. Most of his moves are just punches, kicks, and just big blasts with his hands or his head even. So I'm like, where are they getting this from? When you go back and look at all the DLC characters' movesets, they feel unique and special. Some of them. They felt like each one was crafted with such care and callbacks to its games, and it just felt like every single move, from the tilts to the jabs to even the throws, felt like that character was just warped from their game straight into Smash, and none of the main roster feels that way, not even close. So when people ask me what it is that Sakurai could possibly do with the next Smash Brothers game, it's this. It's like you have all these well-known characters like Mario, Donkey Kong, Link, Samus, Pikachu, and there's so much more they could be doing instead of just these basic jabs, punches, and kicks. Now, recent years has made things yet even easier for Sakurai to take this approach. For instance, you got Donkey Kong, who normally just feels like a big monkey in Smash Brothers. He can punch, he can throw you, it's just pretty much basic strong monkey moveset, and it doesn't really reference too much of his past. Let's just pull from Donkey Kong Bonanza, for instance. Not only could they update his look, which they probably most definitely will do since it's changed in everything else like in Mario Kart World as well, but they could literally give him a lot of the moves and abilities that he has in that game, maybe using the terrain. It would be kind of similar to Steve, where instead of building, instead you could just pick up certain pieces of terrain depending on the stage that you're on. You can throw them at the other player, you can surf on it, or you can spin around with it or swing it. He has a downward punch in this game, which could be his down air, and obviously he could still have punches, claps, and ground pounds, but what if they also add some things like from Donkey Kong 64, like his coconut gun, or even the Bonanza transformations? I mean, Pauline doesn't have to be on his back, but imagine she just pops up from the background whenever he summons one of these things, and I could see it being something like the Monado arts, where you can summon one of them and they'll give you some type of attribute as you transform. You still would play like Donkey Kong just like you do in Bonanza, but it would add something, like the zebra making you run faster, the ostrich giving you the ability to fly and lay egg bombs, and also maybe turning into the snake where you can jump super high. And that's just pulling from a couple of games. It doesn't have to necessarily be something that Donkey Kong does in the games. Maybe he just pulls up a minecart and throws it at you, kind of like Steve. As you see from Hidden Machine's video, there's things like the Mario 64 pulling Mario's face that they turn into an attack, or pulling out a whole GameCube. It's just fun, quirky things that could call back to something from Mario's past, so they could do the same thing with Donkey Kong. Samus plays the way she would look if you watched her on a third-person camera in Metroid Prime. Just very stiff and not very agile, which goes completely against what Samus is about. If you even look at the cutscenes of some of the recent Primes like Prime 4, or some of the scenes in gameplay even in Other M and even Metroid Dread or Samus Returns, Samus is very agile and acrobatic, and I want to see that expressed in Smash Brothers. I think her beam needs big changes. I mean, right now it fires as slow as Link's arrow, so I think they could also pull from the different beams from Metroid Prime 1 and the even returns in Metroid Prime 4, where she has an ice and fire and even an electric beam, so maybe being able to choose and switch your main beam could be a major change for her. She has quick dashes that she can do, invisibility cloaks that she can equip like from Dread, not to mention she has that awesome counter that she got in Samus Returns, and I would love to see abilities like that in Smash Brothers. And that's just some of her abilities. I'm not talking about every single upgrade with her missiles and stuff that she gets in the other Prime games. Pretty much Samus is just way cooler than she is in Smash Brothers. But if you go down the list and just look at all these characters, it's actually insane what Nintendo could do now. With Princess Peach, you got Princess Peach Showtime that gives her all these new costumes and abilities. No, I'm not saying Princess Peach should have 10 separate movesets for all these costumes, but they could incorporate them into specific moves depending on which button you push. Some of her tilts or smash attacks could pull out a different costume and quick change for her to do that ability. You get what I'm saying? Like for Superhero Peach, it would clearly be her grabs because that's all she could really do is pick things up, and she could also fly, so maybe that's her recovery. Luigi's moveset right now is kind of just based on nothing, so obviously making it completely Luigi's Mansion based, since that series is growing very strongly, would be a smart move. Now it obviously wouldn't be nothing but vacuum attacks. They could get creative and throw the ghost in there for certain attacks, maybe King Boo for some of them, maybe throw in EGAT or the Polterpup for certain abilities, using other things from 3 like the slam or the plunger shot, or maybe even Gooigi comes out and helps Luigi with some of his moves, or pulling some of those elemental attacks from the first game. Who cares? It's Smash Brothers, let's get wacky. Throw in Baby Mario on top of Yoshi or something where they can both fight together. Yes, I know Mario and Baby Mario would be in this game, but it's Smash Brothers, nothing makes sense in the first place. And it obviously would focus more on Yoshi's egg attacks, maybe having different eggs that you can pull up, having different abilities. That would be really cool. Kirby has a laundry list of copy abilities that he could pull from and have just this dynamic, huge moveset of like 50 different copy abilities. Each copy ability is tied to any and every move in his arsenal. Even the tilts, the grabs, the jabs, every single move he does will use a different copy ability. He can even use the mouthful mode abilities as well from Forgotten Land. There's just so much they could do with Kirby. Kirby's like this super powerhouse, and I feel like he's just not that in Smash Brothers. Shoot, I even feel like Olimar can get more creative with his Pikmin, as they can maybe join together and do some unique moves instead of them just punching or being thrown out. Not to mention there's tons of new Pikmin in the category now, so you can have Rock Pikmin, Ice Pikmin, even the Nighttime Glow Pikmin could be added to the list, and maybe Olimar uses different creatures instead of just Pikmin as well. Maybe he can summon a ball board for certain attacks. Something like that would be awesome. Not to mention we have newly added space pups in Pikmin 4, whether it be Moss or Ochi. You can summon him, hop on and ride him, or even have him fight separate alongside you. He can be defeated, and then you'll be just left with you and your Pikmin, but I think even having Ochi in there could be pretty cool. And as unique as the villagers are already in Smash Brothers, they can become even more unique, because if Steve can have a crafting table, why can't they? So I would love to see them just go all out and allow you to build furniture and throw furniture, or use it like throwing chairs or building beds, or maybe even constructing a house or putting up a wall, maybe terraforming on the stage, kind of like Minecraft Steve, and just giving them more options to be free the way Steve is. Steve feels like a free character that can do pretty much anything, and I want the villagers to feel that way as well. Even Pit greatly surprises me, as Kid Icarus Uprising is a game that was produced produced by Sakurai, I'm surprised he hasn't redone Pit's moveset to incorporate some of the things in the game, like some of the exosuits, and the fact that there's a whopping 9 classes of weapons that Pit can use in the game, and he only uses like a couple. It's just like so strange to me how they haven't fleshed out his character a lot more in Smash Brothers, and they don't need a new game to do so, because once again, they just can go back to Kid Icarus Uprising and just pull from more weapons from that game. Shoot, even Fox could get a moveset upgrade going all the way back to the GameCube titles, with Star Fox Adventures and Assault giving him a lot of options. Specifically, I've only played Assault, and I know from that game alone, there's so many different weapons. He would be kind of the Nintendo version of Snake, having grenade launchers, sniper rifles, and even basic ARs that he can switch from and have different effects with. And sure, they could pull from Tears of the Kingdom Link this time around and actually dive into his moveset and all of his abilities and the Zonai devices and construction stuff, but it wouldn't really feel like Link. I would suggest that they just make a Link from the ground up that's specifically for this Smash Brothers. If you can have a new Link almost every single new Zelda installment, why not just make up a new Link for this game? Allow him to just have a giant arsenal of items that pull from all the past games, because there's so many items that he could use. Just tie it all into his moveset. If you just take a second to look back at all the past Zelda games and the items that Link has had in some of those games, there's some wacky ones, and you might be pleasantly surprised with what Nintendo and Sakurai could work with. And even some of the newer characters can get complete reworks. Take the Inklings, which primarily pulls from the first game, and there's 2 more games now with even more weapons that they could use in every single one of their attacks, or they could just use the Octolings that can use the other half of weapons that's not used by the Inklings right now. Or maybe for Shulk, they could upgrade the battle system like they did with the next 2 games. I only played the first game, so give me a break here. But just allowing Shulk to use a lot more arts than the ones that he has on hand, because once I played the game, I didn't even realize that there are like tons and tons of extra arts that they could have gave him in Smash Brothers, or playing around with and going deeper with the visions. Because let's face it, the arts are very watered down in Smash Brothers. It's just jump, speed, power, defense, just kind of status effects rather than giving him actual moves tied to those arts. Now naturally, there will be some characters that's going to be hard for them to do much with, since they've only had 1 or 2 main installments, and like for instance, Captain Falcon never leaves his cockpit really outside of some cutscenes in GX. So how do they add new moves for him? Well, they completely made them up in the first place, so give him some new ones that can make him feel fresh and different. I mean, at the end of the day, he could still have his signature moves like Falcon Punch, but with some new ones as well. And you could run into some same issues with like Ness from Earthbound, and also a Fire Emblem character which might not have too many moves to pull from. Granted, I have not played the Earthbound or Fire Emblem games yet, so I can't really say much about those, and if there are even moves that they could add to Marth and Ike and Lucina. Considering the fact that most of them are just normal sword fighters, like I said, I have not played the game, so I don't know. Maybe Marth has other moves that I'm just not sure about. Let me know in the comments down below if there's anything else that they could add to maybe him or Lucina's moveset. But what is it that I want the most for the next Smash Brothers game? It's not necessarily more characters. In fact, I want significantly less characters and more time focused on those characters' movesets. It's time to make Mario different for once. It's been over 25 years of pretty much the same moveset. And no, it needs to be more than just giving Ganondorf a sword finally. These characters need to truly feel like their actual game counterparts and not fill their movesets with filler punches and kicks. And with less time focused on making tons of extra characters, more of that time can be focused on taking those less characters and making unique modes with them, like another story-driven mode like Subspace Emissary. Stuff like that makes me really excited. So I'm hoping they do chop the roster down and they focus on expanding some of these old and outdated movesets. Please let me know if you agree or do you disagree, but regardless, please go check out Hidden Machine's YouTube channel and the video that they posted with Mario, because it just gets me excited. Even though it probably is not going to happen, it really hypes me up for what Mario could actually play like in the next installment. So if you enjoyed today's video, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Smash Brothers and Nintendo in general, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See ya, guys.